Okay, good evening, comrades. I'm coming with part two of this topic on problems on both sides of the Atlantic. And that's with the Black African struggle and the mentalities that we have toward each other. So let's go back to one of my favorite scriptures, and I've done it before, but I'm coming at a little different angle this time. So, same scriptures, different message, different approach. So in this first chapter of the book of Exodus, let's go with the first and second chapter. I'm going to just summarize. Moses is in the big house. Moses has become aware that he is not really a true nationally born Egyptian, but that he had been adopted by the daughter of Pharaoh. Moses has come to the conclusion that he's not one of the real folks in that house, but his people are those that are out there in turmoil. And now Moses takes a good look. So at around age 40, Moses takes a trip down to visit his brothers. Looking amongst them, thinking, man, he sees a fight start up between two of the men. I believe, and those men are about ready to go at it, and Moses gets in there and breaks it up. And in the meantime, one of these men in bondage, one of his brothers in bondage, rises up to him and says, "Who made thee a ruler over us? And who made you a leader over us, that you should come and tell us what we need to be doing? Or are you going to kill us or kill me like you did that Egyptian?" And Moses had already smitten an Egyptian. So when he saw this, he ran, he took off, he went in exile because he knew that they were going to look for him. So I said when he was about 40 years old, according to the scriptures, he came down to deal with his brother. And then it wasn't until another 40 years that he was away that an angel appeared to him, and the voice of the Lord spoke and said, "Your people, your voice is crying out, and I want you to go back and deal with this." So maybe by then he's 80. He looks like he's probably around 80 years old, probably in better shape than most of us nowadays at 80. So anyway, what am I getting at? Well, the men said, "Who made thee a ruler over us, that you should tell us what to do?" 40 years earlier. That's the way they received him. But yet they were in bondage, getting their behind beat by the nationals, who didn't see that they were fully Egypt. Now you would figure when you're in a land for 400 and something years that you would be considered Egyptian, because you're talking several generations. You're talking several generations of people that have been birthed and born and raised and educated in Egypt. And you would think that they were part of the Egyptian society. But that's not the way the regular Egyptians saw them, because they saw something different and saw some Africanness and some Hebrew and all of that they were associated with other races and ethnic groups, and other religious affiliation. So they were basically looked at different by the nationals. And so Moses comes back 40 years later, because now everybody is seeing, that they're not really accepted. They're seeing that the turmoil and the affliction was increasing, and that their pressure was building up. They're seeing that it was unbearable, because they were trying to break them. And now they all in one voice basically crying out to the Lord. And now the Lord said, "Moses, go back." You know why he said just go back? Not just because the people that were seeking his imprisonment is dead, not just because uh, I want you to go at this time. It's because the people were ready to be identified as what they didn't want to be. They said they were Egyptians, but they come to the realization that I am an Israeli, or I am one of the children of Israel, and I'm ready to go. And until they acknowledge that, they had to stay down there and learn. Because when you try to pull the people out, when the people try to tell them that they need to go, you're going to be fighting back and forth, because they're going to be talking about, I'm an Egyptian. I don't know what you're talking about. I've been here for 400 years. My father's died here. My father's worked here. So I'm an Egyptian. But they were getting kicked in their behind because they were children of Israel. The enemy sometimes has more of the truth about who you are than you do yourself, because you're so darn deceived. And that's what I want to tell. That's my message to North American and American Negroes. You want to sit up here and talk about you American. I told you, that's fine. I say it's fine if that's the way you want to see it. But it's really not okay. Because when God has brought you in and you're connected with your ancestry, you want to reject it. And then some enemy has to put his foot up your behind 20 and 15 times in order for you to cough up that I'm African and I'm black African. You have to cough it up, because he's letting you know, no, you're not. And you don't have to believe him. But after he breaks his foot off of your behind enough times, there might be a time where you have to say, well, let's go on and see what our brothers talk about. Let's go sit down and sit with them, because they're not breaking their foot in our behind like these people are. So you would think you're an American. You're an American citizen. But because you go through and see your sons getting shot down every time, and there is no respect for your people, there's no respect for brothers in the land, you have to keep asserting yourself. You have to keep crying out for justice. And every day a family has to cry at the table because a person is missing from the table because some reckless behavior of some oppressive group that looks at you as subhuman and looks at you as not a part of them. And they probably thieves, liars, and murderers themselves. And you keep trying to talk equal to them as though you have a military and some way to back yourself up. They're going to just run you in the darn ground like a steamroller. And you could try to keep rising up all you want. But how many times you got to get knocked down? And this is the pathetic thing about it. If you had no place else to go, and if you had no connection and no ancestral heritage, I might give a break on that. But because you got brothers on the other side of the Atlantic, and even if they have some funky attitudes, you still dealing with funky attitudes on the other side of the Atlantic. So you got one that you're a part of historically and one that you have never been a part of. But you still want to kiss their behind and live under them and let them put their foot on your neck, and you still saying, I'm part of y'all. It's like a woman being beat up by a man that don't respect her. And she's in a relationship. And until she learns to respect and love herself, he'll always be beating her behind for whatever reason he's doing it for. And she has no love and no respect for herself to remove herself from that situation or try to make the best of it. And we're trying to make the best of it. We already tried all that. We tried little Wall Street. We tried Tulsa, Oklahoma, and they knocked it to the dirt. So my thing is that you tell Moses 40 years after he's gone from the land of Egypt because his own brothers rejected him. You tell him, who made you a ruler over us? You rejected the brother. You rejected God. You rejected a man that came to you without even God even saying anything to him. You rejected your own brother. The same brother that he sends back to help you. Now, I'm not going to say that's going to happen here in the future with us in this time and age, but it's a story to let you know how pitiful people can be When you're trying to help them out of a bad situation, how pitiful a woman can be when you're trying to help her from getting her behind beat by a bad husband or bad man. So this is a sickness that is going on. Then you come over to the continent. Nobody's beating you. Nobody's shooting you down necessarily. And if they are, you need to watch that. But when you come over, you got to criticize the plumbing. You're gonna criticize the water. You're gonna criticize the furniture. You're gonna criticize the roads, the lizards, and you got problems. You got issues, man. Because if you're on a plantation, you're getting your behind kicked. They telling you you're not American in more ways than one, and then you're gonna come over to the continent and turn your nose up because you think you're better. Both of you on both sides of the land think you're better than each other, and both of you are going to be dismissed. Both of you, according to, if you're a believer and you believe those books that was read in the scriptures about how those people are going to stand before God in a day and give an account for that, you're going to be numbered in with those ones that's going to be cast into that damnation, because you have refused to love your own brother and refused to accept your own brother. So you bring these things on yourself. Now, that's my message. So when Moses was in Egypt and he was told by his brother, who made you a ruler of us, they were really saying they want Egypt. They okay with Egypt and getting their behind whooped and kicked. They didn't want any solutions. But then 40 years later, they crying out to heaven so much. So the song was, go down Moses way down in Egypt land. Tell the people, let old Pharaoh go. And you say, that's not the way it goes, brother soldiers, the other way. Yeah, that's the way it was when they rejected him. Let old Pharaoh go, let old Egypt go. Now when Moses comes back 40 years later, now it's go down, Moses, go down way down in Egypt land. Tell old Pharaoh, let my people go. But right now, the way these brothers are in North America and the way they are, tell the people, let old Pharaoh go. And let old Egypt go. It's pitiful, man. Pitiful. And that's what we got to deal with. And we got some people that have awakened, that have been trying to sound the alarm, but trying to tell people for the longest, get your head out of the sand and start looking forward and start looking for other options. So, let me see if there's something here I want to say. And I think I'm going to take it to a different topic. This is on both sides of the Atlantic, the trouble that we have. I think that I've hit on some of the things. I didn't really use specific scriptures that I wanted to use, but in society, we have what is called 5 institutions. You got the education institution, you got the family, you have religion, you have the government, and what's the other one? Economics. And in those institutions, as Black Africans, we seem to suffer a lot. And that's because we've been miseducated and taught really wrong about how to see ourselves within education and religion. See, religion has played a part in our self-hatred. It's played a part. It's not supposed to, but it has. So is education. So we have to deal with each other on each of these levels, And so until we address these, until we go, you have to seek truth in all of these. Truth in every last one of these. It's not just reading the Bible, it's seeking truth in your history, seeking truth in your education, see if you've been taught right. And then the whole goal is to get love of self and the knowledge of self. And that's what you want to start with, that, and then the knowledge of your God. So I'll close here and say, keep studying, keep seeking truth, and keep your eyes set on the right thing, and God will see us through. Hotel.